Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the talk held by NIE GSC Graduate Student Club in collaboration with the NIE Library. My name is Yin Shihui, a first-year PhD student of English Language and Literature. I'm the academic director of GSC. This is the very first of a series of academic events of GSC, so thank you very much for your attendance and support. Also, a great welcome and appreciation to today's invited speaker, Mr. James Wong from NIE Library. Mr. James is currently an assistant librarian working the Learning Service Unit at the Library and Information Service Center of NIE. In his current role, James conducts library workshops for NIE students, develops and maintains contacts for library online platforms, and engages users through library outreach channels. So today, James will introduce the range of services and resources that NIE Library has to offer. The whole talk will be video recorded and featured on the GSC official YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram account. You may turn off your video camera if you do not want to appear in the photographs or videos. Please do mute your microphone during the talk. But if you have any questions, please feel free to raise them through Teams chat, which is on the right side of your screen, and I will relay them to our speaker after his presentation. Now, I will give the floor to our speaker, James. James, the time is yours.
Okay, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you very clear.
Yeah, there was an announcement that's playing in the background, so just let me share my screen. Okay, so can everyone see my screen or?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Okay, so my name is James Wong. So for today's session, I will be sharing with everyone about the services that's provided by NIE Library. So my name is James Wong, as our hosts have introduced me. I'm a librarian with the Learning Services. Okay, so just a brief background about NIE Library. We are an education library. In fact, we are the largest education library in Singapore and possibly in the region. Okay, I'll just start off by sharing our education collection. Okay, here's an overall overview of our collection. In terms of books, this is a print and e-books. We have about close to 570,000 copies. For journal titles, we have about 60,000 titles, out of which most of it is actually in the electronic format. We have about 116 databases that are subscribed by us. In terms of audiovisual materials, about 47,000. And our digital repository holds about 12,000 items. So these are dissertations, past year exam papers, publications by our faculty members. In total, we have about close to 700, more than 700,000 items in our collection. Okay, so let me just share a little bit about loan privileges. So with regards to loan privilege, as a student, you can actually borrow up to 20 items and you can renew them up to 6 times. So that's close to about 5.5 months actually. For the items in our main lending collection, the main lending collection is on the 4th floor. So if those items, you can actually loan them out for 28 days. Okay, everyone you're able to see the screen, right? What I'm sharing is a full screen, right?
Yes, it is a full screen.
Okay.
You can see it. Yeah.
Okay, so for our special collection, we have some unique collections. So for starter, we have the CJ Co collection. So this contains books on teachers, teacher methods, teacher education, and training. So these are actually quite selectively curated set of collection. Then we have the Singapore Education Resources, also commonly known as SEDU. So these are actually library materials on Singapore educations. You're quite unlikely to find these materials outside NIE Library. We also have a group of, we have a set of instructional materials. So these are textbooks, workbooks, and teachers' guides that are used in Singapore schools. And for those of you that are actually interested in local music, we also have Singapore Music Resources. So these are scores and sounds recording of local works and local artists. Okay, so there are also some other interesting collection that we have. So on the library on third floor, for those of you that actually deal with children and young adult literature, we have our CYA collection. So these are award-winning and literary titles. Included in this collection are also some of the works by Asian authors. So this group of this is a subset of the collection that's actually pertaining to children and young adult literature that is just specific on Asia. And for our mother tongue collection, this is on the second floor. You'll find the Chinese and Malay and Tamil books and journals. So these are print journals. We're looking for language journals in print. They'll be on the second floor of the library. The main lending collection, as I mentioned, is on the fourth floor. So this have subject-specific books on teaching education. So this includes other disciplines such as psychology, sociology, etc. On the second floor, you will find the red spot. So in the red spot, you'll find the course reading, exam papers, and markers reports. So let me just talk a little bit about the resources at a glance. So on the second level, you will find the reserves collection. So within the reserves collection, you will find red spot material. So red spot is basically items you can actually loan out for 2 hours. Overnight loans are possible if you come about 2 hours just before the loan counter closes. So you can actually borrow it and return it the next working day. So if you come into a library on Saturday, just before closing time, you can actually return it on Monday morning. The reserve collection also contains AV materials, Singapore music resources, NIE dissertation and thesis can also be found on level 2, microform materials, and the Chinese, Malay, and Tamil collection. So microform materials, for those of you that are not familiar, those are basically old archive. In the past, this is how journal articles were retrieved. They were in the film format. We also have a microfilm machine that allows you to read these materials. On level 3, you can find the CYA collection, the instructional materials, assessment exercises. So these are assessment books. Newspapers can be found there. So this include previous copies from previous days. Bound periodicals. So these are basically older physical journals that are bound together. So for this bound periodicals, that means that sometimes they won't be available online. On level 4, you'll find the main lending collection, the CJ collection, as well as the SEDU. Okay, so let me move on to how NIE Library can support you with your research and learning. Okay, so generally when we are talking about this, there's actually 3 components we can help you. So first is the library search system. So this is the search bar you can find on the library portal. The second is the lib guide. So these are actually library guides created by librarians, which will I will actually share later more on it. And thirdly, we have various library services to help you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about library search. So if you go to the library portal and you see on the main portal, the search bar, you will see the search bar. So actually behind that search bar is actually a system, or rather an interface that searches through multiple database and physical collections simultaneously. So what happened is a long time ago in the past, I think for some of you who are doing your undergrad studies, maybe like 10 or 15 years ago, you have to search through individual database when you want to search for journal articles. So these were the days before basically Google Scholar. So in the past, for those of you that are taking humanities, you might be using JSTOR and just searching through a database. If you need articles that's related to psychology, you may use a psychology database. But now we have an interface that allows you to actually search all of this database under one interface, which actually saves you a lot of time. And a unique aspect of the library search is it allows you to access scholarly resources that are otherwise available through subscription only. So the results or material resource type that you can retrieve through the library search includes books and ebooks, journal articles, dissertations, conference papers, newspapers, reports. So this could include government reports or technical reports, online videos, but that is not an exhaustive list. So let's talk about how you can actually search through the library search system. Actually, we can actually do this together. Okay. Are you still able to see my screen right now? It should be on Google Chrome.
Yeah, right now we see your slide.
Oh, you're still on the slide. Okay.
Oh.
So let me just share it again. Okay. Okay, now you should be able to see my
Yes.
screen. Yes.
Yes. It's a part of library website.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the library search system. So from here, you can actually do all your searches. Okay, so just let me, okay, so basically what we'll do is you can just input keywords. So it could be something, let's start off with something really simple. So maybe we're looking for education in Singapore. So we can just type in two keywords, Singapore and education. I'll use the Boolean operator and. So this, of course, if your research is, I think most of your research will be actually more specialized, so you use more keywords, but I'll just stick with a simple one to illustrate this. So once you log on to the library search system, the first thing you will see is the yellow banner right here at the top. So what you need to do from here is actually sign in. And we'll select NTU NIE users because that's who we are. Okay, in my case, I am auto log on because I'm on campus, so it actually detects the single sign-on is in place. But if you're at home, then you may need to key in your user ID and password, which is your should be the same as your NTU Learn password. So that's your NIE username and password. So from here, you will actually see the interface. Once it actually searches through all the things, different resources will be listed here. So you get other, so this is an electronic resource. It might be a video or something. Then you have a website, you have journal. So this is a journal article. You have books, more books. And you can click on here to load more results. So some of them might be ebooks as well. So typically what you want to do is you will want to use the filters on your left. So some of the filters that you can use is, okay, you can limit them to only online resources. So this will take out physical books and just include online books materials. Peer review journals. So the journal articles that if you check this box, you will actually get journal articles that are that generally has gone through more stringent quality control. It went through a panel of experts and academia before they can actually get published. So once the new retrieved list is being filtered, you can actually just simply use click on view online to actually retrieve the full text journal article. So once you click on that, it will actually show you a number of database that you can actually select. Okay, so we will use the EBSCO host academic search complete here. So if I click on it, it should ask, okay, in this case, you'll ask me to log in. So you will see a license agreement here. So this basically tells you not to do systematic, what do you call it, systematic large-scale download, because that will be an infringement of the agreement. Okay. So from here, you can actually click on PDF full text on the left. And this will allow you to actually download the full text journal article. Yeah. So once it loads here, it will show you a preview. Then on the top right here, there will be an icon for you to actually click download. Okay, we'll just wait for it to load. But naturally, when you are using the library search system, there are multiple databases. So what we are seeing here is actually a journal article that resides on one database that's called an Academic Search Premier. Okay, so we can click here, download, to actually download the full text. So naturally, if you click on another database, so for example, Taylor and Francis Education Collection, it will bring you to a different interface that will look totally different. Okay, so let me go back to the result page. So apart from peer-reviewed journals that we can actually select, okay, so let me remove this filter. We can also search for other items. So one of it that will be quite common to us is probably books. So if you click on books, it will actually display books that are related to this particular topic, and we have a call number. So if we click on one of this, maybe let me see. Okay, let's click on maybe the first one here. Okay, it will actually tell you where you can actually locate this book. So this book is actually not available for normal. It's actually not on the shelf. So you actually see that it's actually, it will state that it's not loanable. So in this case, you can actually click on the submit request form. All the forms are actually built in here. So this is actually like a closed stack kind of books. Closed stack means that it's by request only. But if you find something that's a little bit more, okay, so most of the other books will actually indicate a location here. Okay, so for example, this book here, it actually states as on a lending collection on the 4th floor. And with the call number here, so you just take the call number, go to the shelf, and you can retrieve the book. Yeah. So you can also check the live status of the book. So there's one copy available in the library and one copy available. So you can actually just go to the shelves and retrieve it. If you're looking for online book, ebooks, you can click on limit to online only. And when you click on online only, you can just select view online, for example, and it will actually bring you to an interface, the ebook publisher platform, which will allow you to download the books. I will actually touch a little bit more about the ebook, how you can borrow them later. I think most of you are familiar, but there are still some differences between the different ebooks that I would like to explain more in a bit. Okay, so let me reset the filter. So with your library account, there are some things that you can actually do. So sometimes you do a search and you find things that are quite useful, but you may not be using it now. You may want to refer to it later. So what you can do is, if you see there's a pin here beside each of this item, what you can do is you can pin this item to refer to later. Okay, you can pin multiple items. So this kind of, think of it as similar to a shopping cart. Yeah, when you're doing online shopping. So yeah, you can pin all these things, then you can refer to them later. Over here, there's a go to my favorites. When you pin them, they go to a favorites list. Yeah, so you can just refer to them later. Your search history can also be checked here. So sometimes you search, maybe you're searching for different things. So the first one I had was Singapore education. What if I include another one? Special education. Okay, so one quick tip for everyone here. If you're searching for a concept that has more than one words, you can actually put a double quotation mark. So this will actually search for that particular phrase. It search for them in that sequence. So in this case, education will always appear after special. Okay, so I've done another search here. So let's go back to the favorites at the pin at the top. If you click on search history, you'll notice that it actually lists down the last queries that you have actually done. And from there, you can actually save your searches as well. Okay. Other useful features include quickly generating a APA citation. So you click on the citation icon here, you will notice that APA citation will be generated here. But there's a very big caveat here. Sometimes the APA citation is not generated properly. So always check your citation for accuracy before using them. It can save you some time, but always be you're the last person to validate it. Okay, one filter on the left that is actually often overlooked is the publication date. So a good rule of thumb is you will want to use the last 10 years items actually published in the last 10 years. That's always a good place to start. If you, after you narrow it down to the last 10 years and you find that there's still not enough resources, then maybe you expand it to maybe the 15 or 20 years. Also, being the fact that this particular interface, it searches through multiple databases, you may also find narrowing it by subject or topics might be a useful thing. So this is actually sorted by the number of hits written. Yeah. So these are some of the things that you may find to be useful. Okay, do we have any questions at this point?
Here is a question from Lily.
Okay.
Yeah, she's asking about the book in the red spot. So is it possible for the red spot books, particularly course textbooks, to be added so the books can be borrowed for the entire semester?
Inter-semester as in, is that a course reading or?
I think she means the when the course begins and to the final
the end of the semester.
Period,
okay.
Around like 3 months, for the whole 3 months.
Okay, that will be quite difficult because usually the books in the red spot are high demand books. So in those situations, you're only allowed to borrow for 1 day, usually take out of the library just to make a quick photocopy. But as usual, the one thing you want to check is actually the check on this system and just make sure there's not multiple copies. So sometimes there's one copy that is in the library, but other copies are actually, there are multiple copies in the library. One copy is in the red spot, so you can only borrow it for 2 hours. But there may be multiple copies that's on the 4th level of the library. It might be in the landing collection. So you can actually borrow it from that collection instead. And when you borrow it from there, you can actually borrow it for 28 days and you can actually renew it multiple times. So that may be another option you want to look for. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, James. And also about another question about the books is that I know that our library has so many books in different languages, right? So there's a question from Feng Wei. She said, so if I want to search some Chinese books, so what can I type, the Chinese characters?
Yeah, you can type in the Chinese characters. If you, yeah, and either you type in Chinese character or you type in Hanyu Pinyin. Yeah. So the alphabets, yeah, basically anglicized title of the same book. Yeah.
Okay, and another question from sorry about that. He's asking about the ebook. So he said, I often find ebooks with limitation of number of pages that we can download. How do we get a full ebook in that case?
Okay, sorry, I'm also checking the same question on my phone. Okay, so for the ebook, let me cover it in the next section because I will be talking a little bit more in depth about the different types of ebooks.
Okay, no problem.
So I'll get back to that question shortly. Okay, just want to make sure I have one. Okay, so let me just talk a little bit about one extra filter. So whatever I'm doing the search here, I'm only searching in NIE Library's collection. But if you are doing something like a PhD dissertation, I think it's actually worth the effort to search for items outside of the library holdings, outside of NIE library. So to do that, what you can do is there is a checkbox here that says search beyond library holdings. So you can check this box. And it will actually include both items within the library and outside the library. So some of it, if you look at it, you will see that, oh, no online access. So some of it, we might not have it. Or if it's a book, we may also not have it. So in this case, you see that no online access as well. But some of it, it may be useful. After you take a look at the abstract, you say, hey, I think this may be useful for my dissertation. I may want to use it. Okay, so I will actually share with you how you can actually, so just keep that thought in mind. How can we retrieve items that are not in NIE library? I will get back to it in a bit. Okay, so now let me move on to the next section on ebooks. Okay, let's talk about ebooks. So when you actually search for a book title, you'll notice that sometimes there's actually two things that's shown on the screen. So these are exactly the same title, but one of it, you'll see check availability at NIE Library, Lending Collection. So this is a print book. It will tell you you have the location here, Lending Collection Level 4. You have the call number LC4717. And once you click down into it, it may actually show there's one copy in the library, one copy available. So that's the availability status, which I shown earlier. If it's an ebook, you just click view online and it'll bring you directly to the interface, which I've also demonstrated earlier. So as I shown earlier, these are the login. So just refrain from large scale systematic download. Okay, so this is one of the platform is by one of our publisher. So this Taylor and Francis. So from here, you can actually get a very quick overview of what's available with regard to this ebook. So what we know is actually full access. And here you will see it's a download. You just click on download and you'll be able to download the title. So if you click on the book and you click on download, and usually when we borrow ebook, let's say from the library or something, usually there's a loan period, 1 day, maybe 21 days. It really depends. I cannot give you a standardized number because our license and agreement with different ebook publisher, it really varies. So some of them only allows us to borrow for 1 to 7 days. Sometimes they also have a fixed number of pages that this related one of the question posted earlier. So some of it you can only borrow certain pages. It goes by percentage. Maybe like 30% of the books can be actually downloaded. Others only allows you to download one chapter. Some of them allows you to download the entire book, but you need to download chapter by chapter. So it really differs. So there's no actually fixed framework to actually deal with managing this kind of ebook. On the other hand, you have ebooks that once you click download, you have the entire PDF file. So when that happens, that ebook is actually for you to keep. It's perpetual. You do not have to return it. Even after you graduate, you can continue to read it. The only thing you cannot do is actually you send it to your friend because that or your classmate, because that would be an infringement of copyright laws. So if you look here, you can actually download or you can just read online. I usually recommend you download since you can actually get to keep it. Okay, so the first book that I showed earlier, this is probably a perpetual access download. So you download it, you get to keep it. Okay, this on the other hand, this ProQuest eBook Central, this book has some limitations. If you look here, you will see that you can download PDF chapter and get up to 57 pages. Okay, 34 pages remaining for copy, so you could probably like download additional 34 pages. Yeah, so this book has some limitation. You can download it by chapter, or you can just read online. Okay. Don't worry about the slide. I will actually share the slide with you at the end of it. So this is another platform, this by Dawsonera. So After you click download ebook, it will bring you to a different, it will ask you how long you want to check the book out for. So this is a different case where you have to choose how long you want to borrow the book. So in this case, you maybe can borrow only 7 days. And some ebooks, there are also limitations in terms of the copy. So let's say this ebook, 3 of your friends wants to use it, and unfortunately, we only have 1 electronic copy. They treat it almost like a physical book. So maybe only one of you can borrow it. You have to wait for the loan to expire before another person can borrow it. Okay, but the good thing about ebooks is moving forward, NIE Library is actually purchasing ebooks that are on a perpetual access, because we find that makes more sense for our user, and it's a lot more useful. And so when it comes to chapter or pages download, there are generally, some of it has no expiry, but you need to follow the copyright limits. Whole book download, you get a loan for up to 28 days. Just now, that example I have is 1 to 7 days. But as I mentioned earlier, different publisher have different licensing agreement with us. Okay. Then when it comes to PDF, or you can actually download in PDF or EPUB format. So PDF is generally what I recommend. But if you're using an ebook reader, you might want to use EPUB, because that allows you to actually read. It's actually a more seamless way to sync it to your ebook reader. And you can also read it on Windows, Mac OS, iOS, or Android devices, as long as you have the right ebook reader program. As I mentioned, also, there's different publishers and platform. Okay, so one of the things is that regarding the PDF, usually we recommend you use Adobe Digital Editions. It's the easiest to handle the PDF files. Okay, I have some question that I'm going to answer here from an unknown user. For all these platforms, is there a need for you to have an account ID or password? You do not need the particular platform account or password, but you need to have your NIE login and password, because using that will allow you to actually gain access to all the advanced features, including downloading. Okay, I have another one from Avinash. Okay. Okay, so with Avinash is a physics PhD student from NIE. So he wants to actually access, this is not related to ebook, but related journal articles. So if you're an NIE student and you want to retrieve resources from NTU, yes, you can, but to the publishers, they regard us as 2 different entities, even though NIE is part of NTU. So for NIE students who require NTU resources, particularly journal articles, you need to cross the bridge, go to Lee Wee Nam Library or one of the libraries, use one of their terminals to access the journal articles. So you can only access NTU journal articles there. So you go over, hop on, log in with your NIE user ID and password, use one of the physical terminals there and actually download it. You can actually, once you download it, you might want to save it to a thumb drive or email them to yourself. But there's another way, which I'll also share with you, which may be more convenient for most of you. Okay, so let me talk about document delivery service. So this is one of the things that you can use as a high degree student to actually get journal articles that are not available in NIE. Okay, so it's actually impossible for any library today to actually have everything. Let's put it this way: it's impossible. There's so much resource out there. So for those of you that probably use Google Scholar, do you have an idea how much resources is on Google Scholar? How much resources index in there? So I actually read about it the other day, and it's close to 400 million resources on Google Scholar. So there's no way any academic library today can actually subscribe to that much resource. But because of that, what we have between different libraries, we have an agreement. We help out each other to get each other documents. So this is called the document delivery service. So let me just share with you what's the document delivery service all about. So we will provide photocopies of journal articles to you once you make the request. So basically, you put a request for a journal article, we will ask another library. This may be in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in US, whichever library has it, and they're able to supply. So they will actually photocopy and scan it and send it to us. So then we will provide you with the scanned copy of the journal article. But it's the same thing. Once we provide you with a scanned copy of the journal articles, you are not to disseminate it. It's only for your personal use. This can also, we can also do scanned copies of portion of books that's not available in NIE Library. But if the book that you want, a particular chapter, is actually very well used and you like to recommend it, maybe a better idea is for us to actually purchase that book instead. So the turnaround time for document delivery service is 1 to 7 days. Okay, this slides which I'll hand out to you has the actual step, but I'll just show you how you can actually do that. Okay, so from the portal, if you can either click on services, you can click on services and you scroll down, you see document delivery. So click on this. Okay, you can read through all these things. These are the terms and conditions, but you can click on request document delivery. Then from here, you just type in your personal information, which program you are in, your student ID, or your student number, your email, your phone number, and you can select which box. So just fill in as much as you can. Those that are mandatory is actually needed for us to locate that particular journal article. The more you can fill in, the easier it is for us to actually locate the particular journal article. Yeah. So you can actually request multiple. If you need more, you can request like 5 or is it 10? Yeah. So turnaround is actually quite fast. We say 1 to 7 days, but usually it's really fast. Yeah. Okay, any questions at this point? Okay, if there's no question, I will move on to other library services. Okay, so same thing. Once you are on the home page, okay, generally the services can either be selected by clicking services here, or if you scroll down, you also see like commonly used services. Okay, so let me click on services here. So some of the things that you can do is you can actually request an item and pick it up in 24 hours. For those of you that actually live very far, maybe in Pasir Ris and don't really want to come down, borrow 30 books, 20 books in this case, you want to borrow 20 books and bring back to Pasir Ris, we also do book delivery, but of course there's a fee with it. Yeah, but it may be cheaper than taking a taxi here back and forth. And if you require books from another library, it's good to use the interlibrary loan service. So if we can find it, we will actually request from it. So usually it's from NLB and US libraries. Okay, this is one service that I recommend that everyone use it, recommend new items. So if you find a book that is really good and your professor is actually using it, but it's not in our library, you can either ask your professor to do a purchase recommendation, or you can just request for it yourself. So you can request book, journals, audiovisual materials. So once you purchase it, we actually contact you. Okay, let me see if I have a. Okay, I have a question from Elizabeth. So if we have problems with searching for materials, so who can we approach? Okay, so you can always drop us an email at libris@nie.edu.sg and just tell us that you have difficulty finding something. So one of our librarians will actually assist you. Yeah. Okay, then Isabel, would you be able to provide us with an overview of the different databases that the library has? Okay. Which databases might be best for humanities, or is this indicated somewhere in the system? Yes, I can show you in a bit. Okay. So purchase of materials will include the main textbooks for your modules. Textbook is always a little bit on subjective. It really depends. Yeah, but you can actually make the request and we'll do our best to see whether we can purchase it. Okay, let me show. Okay. Yes, the website is libris.nie.edu.sg. Or you can just search on Google NIE Library. Okay, let me show you a little bit about the list of databases. So if you click on list of databases, it's on the home page. Sorry, I might have gone too fast. Okay, so once you're on the library homepage, you just scroll down. Just below the search bar, there is two tabs: useful resources, research support. Just make sure you click on useful resources, then click on list of databases. You say A to Z list of online databases. So what you will see is actually a list of database that is actually sorted by A to Z. Of course, those with numbers start first. And you notice behind each of this, there's a round little button that says IP. So it's a legend here. So IP are those as IP restricted, which means you actually need to log in to get off-campus access. So I think all of these databases can be accessed from the comfort of your home. So to know what database is useful for your research is actually quite simple. So I think for those of you as humanities, when we're doing undergrad, we'll probably be using JSTOR. So JSTOR is one of those. So if you click on the down arrow, you actually expand, actually show you what this particular database about. So JSTOR is a multidisciplinary database. Okay, so in this case, you also tell you that there's usually a gap of 2 to 5 years between the most recently published issue of any journal and when it's available in JSTOR. So in this case, there's an embargo. Okay, so you will also notice that the data type is actually, okay, this one is not correct, actually full text. You can get PDFs from here, the coverage from 1800s to present. Okay, so JSTOR is where humanities students in undergrad will start, but once you are in graduate studies, another one I will strongly recommend is Academic Search Complete. So this is also a multidiscipline database. It includes social sciences, humanities, education, computer science. So you notice it's full text. The coverage dates back to 1887 to present. So to access this database, you can actually either click here on the title, or you can click Access Database. If you want a more thorough, complete information about a database, usually you have to access it and go to About or somewhere where they actually describe it. For those that are actually majoring in psychology, you can click on P, then you can select psychology collection or psychology database. Okay, once again, if you have any question on which database is suitable for you, or you can drop us an email. We will recommend you a database. Okay, so let me move on to the next part. We also have a bunch of library guides. Okay, so library guides, just click on homepage and the library guides are all available under search and site help. We have guides on how to construct search statement, how to do literature search, how to find by types of resources. We one on bookmarklet, APA style guides. So APA style guide is where many of you may find to be useful. So this covers a bunch of most of the APA styles, the common APA styles. For example, journal articles, how will you actually cite it? Okay, there is a APA manual. So we have a number of copies in this in the library. So, some of it's on the 4th level in the lending collection, others in red spot. So this will cover almost every single case. Once again, if you have any problems dealing with APA, drop us an email. Another person that will usually be an expert in APA would probably be your instructor. So you can also ask your module instructor on whether APA style is correct. But take note that APA has moved on to APA 7 recently. About last year in, I believe it's October. Yeah, before that they were using APA 6. So there are some changes. So for those of you that are still using APA 6, please check with your instructor to see whether they want you to move to APA 7. We also have some help guides on how you can download EndNote, how to use EndNote. The library also, okay, so if you want to see all guide, you can actually click here, see all guides. Okay. Yeah, so we have guides for almost every different type of things, such as how to find by type of item, One of it that you may actually find it to be very useful is the proxy book marklet. Okay, so sorry, just let me check if there's any more questions. Okay, I have one question by Sun. Does the library have plans to organize workshop this semester on literature search using EndNote, etc.? Yes, we always are looking for to organize new workshop. If you go to the library portal, you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that we have a bunch of workshops that's actually happening. Right now, most of it is actually requested by the professor. But but you can also drop us an email if you require a literature search workshop. Just click on it. You can email us. But unfortunately, we require you to like form a small group, maybe like 3 or 5 people. The bigger the better, but not like 15, because now everything we're doing online. So it's also, so maybe like 5 or 6 people, it will be a good size for us to do an online Zoom workshop for you. We are also teaching EndNote using Zoom or MS Teams. Yeah. Okay, another question by Liu. Can NIE student access Scopus from our home? Unfortunately, we do not subscribe to Scopus. You need to go to NTU Library. Okay, so let me move on. Okay, to the next part. So some of the measures that we've taken, because right now there's COVID-19, and we are actually doing social distancing. So these are some basic things that you have to do. So mask must be worn at all times. You need to we also adopt safe distancing regulations here. And we overall have a reduced max occupancy compared to the past. So this is in line with MOM regulation, Ministry of Manpower. We have included hand sanitizers at different checkpoints within the library. Okay, so within the library, all the surfaces, the tables, we have increased the number of cleaning, and with books, we have also included and integrated and a sanitization process for all the books that are borrowed. Okay, library events. Generally, right now, we do not have much library events, but if you're looking for library events, I think all the upcoming ones will probably be online. You can actually find it here. Actually, today there was another one, the Anthology in Singapore Symposium. So for those of, yeah. But usually when there's new things, we actually include it on the library portal homepage. Yeah, we also email students in your in the student portal and your email as well. Okay, so I mentioned about library workshop. Okay, so let me touch on the last few bits. Okay, so access to NTU Library. So as NIE students, you can borrow items from NTU Library, but you need to go over to NTU Library to borrow. You cannot request here and collect here. All NTU items must be returned at NTU Library. You cannot return here because we are still 2 different libraries. Fines for item borrowed from NTU must be paid at NTU Library. Okay, so we have some question that the GSC committee has given me. Okay, so first 2 questions is actually on membership. How many books can you borrow from the library as a master PhD student? How long can you keep them? This is actually quite easy to find. So you go to membership, click on loans and renewals. This is on the home page. So there are different tabs. So your NIE students, so click on NIE students, then a higher degree. Okay, sorry, I made a mistake earlier because you are all higher degree. So the loan limit is actually not 20, you can borrow 30 items. Okay, my apologies for that. Okay, but there are different books that you can, they have like different due dates. So for normal books, like those on the lending collection, children, young adult collection, so those are 28 days. Big books on, those are really big books, just oversized books for children. So those are in red spot, 21 days. Red spot is always 2 hours, but they are available too, but you can actually borrow it overnight, 2 hours before the service point or the loan counter closes. Items are to be returned by 11 the next day. Audio visual is for 3 days, and some other items are on 3 hours. So this one you can actually check here. There's also we also include what you can renew, what you cannot renew, how many times you can renew. Your renewal can also be done online. You don't need to come to a library. You click on account, use your NIE user ID and password. And once you log in, you can actually renew those items. Okay, I've covered on ebooks. I also covered how can you actually download research articles. Okay, so what should I do if the books that I need cannot be found in NIE Library? Once again, if it's a book chapter, you can request it. There's a few ways you can do that. Once it's a book chapter, you can use the document delivery service. But this one, it really depends on whether we can actually locate it, because the bottleneck is not on NIE Library, but the library that has the book, how long they take to process it. And these days with COVID, if you're like borrowing from a library in US, it may take longer. So it's really subjective. So if it's not an NIE library and you think we could benefit from it, so book recommendation or interlibrary loan. Okay, so number 6, how to search for the relevant literature for my research project in a systematic manner. This is usually what you want to do is you will want to construct a search statement that is repeatable in different databases. I would assume that you're talking about systematic review here. Usually, if you require help with systematic review, drop us an email, because this is systematic review is actually a topic on its own that is very difficult to actually explain in such a short time. But the short version is you want to use a search statement that can repeat throughout different databases. But different databases may have different Boolean operators or basically what you call it. The interface is a little bit different, so you may not actually be able to repeat it exactly. So those are some limitations. But drop us, whoever asked this question, drop us an email if you require help with systematic review. Okay, what if NIE Library does not subscribe to an academic journal that I really find useful? Always same thing, you can actually recommend a journal to us. But of course, this one it really depends on how well used. We have to evaluate the journal. So every database that we subscribe to, we actually regularly review it to see how well used it is, and before we decide to renew it. So this is always an ongoing process. But drop us a recommendation or drop us an email saying that this may be good for us. Okay, so what other services, resources does the library provide besides lending book? We do instructions on EndNote workshops, literature search, systematic review. We also collaborate with students every year for the undergraduate. There's always an orientation program, which we also support them, or such as GSC as a briefing. We also support GSC briefing to share more about different library related information. Okay, number 9, this is a hot topic. Does the library provide any assistance for issues with the EndNote software? Yes, we do. Drop us an email, and we always help with troubleshooting as well. But with troubleshooting, it's sometimes very difficult for me to. I do most of the troubleshooting. Me and my manager May. We do the troubleshooting, but sometimes if you send in screenshot, it can be quite difficult. So this day we are moved on to using Zoom or MS Teams to actually do a video troubleshooting, because this will give us a better idea of what issues you're facing. But if you have never used EndNote before and you want to start learning how to use it, the best way is to attend our workshop, which will cover how to get started and all these things. If you need help installing or you face issues, drop us an email. Okay, number 10, I think I addressed earlier. Can I borrow books online? Yes, you can actually reserve books online. Okay, so let me just do a quick search. Okay, so if you find an item, for example, this, let me find one book that's actually here. Okay, maybe this book. Okay, so if you want to actually place a hold for it, you can actually place a hold. This kind of like reservation. And you will say the pickup location. You can actually choose the NIE Smart Locker. This is a smart locker. You can it's open 24/7. It's located at Block 4, Level 1, near the DBS ATM machine. So you can actually select there. Then not needed after you select after which date you do not need in case this is quite urgent. So maybe if, for example, you don't need it after 15. So let's assume that this book is out. If it's not out, we'll put it in Smart Locker, drop you an email to tell you when you can collect it. If for some reason we need to locate the book after the 15th of August, then we will not send you an email, because in that case you will not need it. I hope that answers this question. How to locate relevant articles using Boolean operators. Okay, Boolean operators. So if you're on NIE Library, you can. This is actually best shared using through request of literature search workshop. But if you want to do it yourself, then we have a basic guide on how to use Boolean operators. So generally, the Boolean operators are and, not, or. We also have some functions. So these are some places to get started. But do note that if you're actually using Google or Google Scholar, some of the Boolean operators, they work differently. They don't look exactly the same. But if you have, once again, have any problem with it, drop us an email. Okay, can I self-study at the library? Yes, you can. We are very glad that anyone choose to study at NIE Library. But can you study in a group right now? No. We are still doing the social distancing. So each of our big study table is only for one person at any time. Study rooms such as the pod and the discussion room are also closed presently. Yeah. Okay, do we have any other questions? Because I've reached the end of today's session. You can unmute and say if you want to.
It seems that we do not have more questions. Okay, then thank you very much for your fruitful and extensive talk, James. Because of the no more question and the time is close, so maybe we'll call it, this is the end of our talk today. And yep, thank you very much.
Yeah, just one more thing is if you need to reach us, okay, you can actually give us a call. On the library portal, there's also a live chat over here. You click on it, you can drop us a question. We during office hour, a librarian will be manning this service. Then what else? Okay, our email is libris@nie.edu.sg. Then you can also drop us. You can also follow us on Instagram at NIE Library. Okay, I will also send the slides to the GSC committee in this case.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, James.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your talk, and thank you very much for attendance. In the future, GSC will organize more activities and hope you will get involved. To make our future events better, we cannot appreciate more if you can give us your valuable feedback by scanning the code on the screen. And also great appreciation to James. Thank you for your time and the presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.